In the year 1869, deep in the Appalachian frontier, Clara McBride lived a life shadowed by hardship. At just 12 years old, she felt the weight of her cruel uncle's tyranny every day. He was cold and harsh, providing little care or kindness. Clara often dreamed of freedom, imagining a world beyond the small cabin where she was forced to live. Her spirit, though battered, was unbroken. Determined to escape, Clara planned her flight into the mountains. The forest called to her like a long-lost friend, promising adventure and safety away from her uncle's grasp. With a small bag of supplies, she slipped away one starry night. As she ventured deeper into the woods, the beauty of nature surrounded her, a stark contrast to her dreary home. However, bravery alone could not protect Clara from the dangers of survival. Hunger gnawed at her stomach as she tried to find food and shelter. Each rustle of leaves reminded her of how alone she truly was. Just when hope began to fade, Clara pressed on through the underbrush, willing herself to endure, unaware that help was closer than she thought. As Clara ventured deeper into the mountains, she relied on her instincts and resourcefulness to navigate the wild terrain. The tall trees loomed overhead, their leaves whispering secrets as the wind passed through them. Clara remembered stories of survival she had heard and put them to use. She searched for edible berries, carefully examining bright red and blue fruits, picking only those that looked safe. Using a small knife she had packed, she fashioned a crude spear from a sturdy branch, hoping to catch a fish in one of the clear streams that flowed nearby. When she found one, her heart raced with excitement. With careful patience, she plunged the spear into the water, grateful for her quick reflexes when she finally captured a fish wriggling on the end. However, as the sun dipped lower in the sky, Clara felt exhaustion creeping in. She built a small fire using dry leaves and twigs, something she had seen her father do when camping. Sitting by the warmth, she cooked her catch, the first meal in days, filling her with a flicker of hope. Yet, as night fell, shadows danced around her, reminding her that danger still lurked in the wilderness. Despite her initial successes, Clara soon found that the challenges of survival were wearing her down. Days turned into a blur as she wandered through the mountains, and each step felt heavier than the last. Her stomach growled incessantly, a constant reminder of her emptiness. The berries she had collected were not enough to sustain her, and she struggled to find more food. With the sun high in the sky, Clara pushed herself to keep moving, but fatigue wrapped around her like a thick blanket. Her limbs felt weak, and her head began to spin. She tried to focus on the landscape around her, but the world began to blur at the edges. Each rustle in the underbrush made her heart race, yet she could hardly muster the energy to react. Finally, in a secluded clearing surrounded by tall ferns and wildflowers, Clara stumbled and fell to the ground. The damp earth felt cool against her skin as darkness crept into her vision. Her body, overwhelmed by hunger and exhaustion, surrendered to fatigue, leaving her vulnerable and alone in the wilderness. Unbeknownst to her, this moment of despair would soon lead to an unexpected turning point in her journey. As the sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the forest floor, Chayton moved quietly through the underbrush. A skilled Cherokee scout, he had spent years learning the ways of the mountains and listening to the whispers of nature. But today, his heart was heavy with grief. He had lost his family to violence, leaving him with a deep sense of sorrow and a longing for connection. While searching for food, Chayton's keen eyes caught a glimpse of something unusual just off the path. Curiosity drew him closer, and as he approached, he found Clara sprawled on the ground, pale and weak. Setting aside his troubles for a moment, Chayton knelt beside her, his compassionate nature taking over. He gently placed a hand on her shoulder and spoke softly, reassuring her that she was safe now. While Clara's eyelids fluttered open, still fighting against the darkness that threatened to consume her, Chayton felt a spark of hope igniting within him. This young girl, so full of spirit despite her circumstances, reminded him of the love he had lost. Determined to help her recover, he carefully lifted Clara into his arms and began to devise a plan for their survival together in this vast wilderness. As Clara's eyes slowly opened, confusion washed over her. She blinked against the sunlight filtering through the trees, revealing a figure kneeling beside her. Chayton's presence was both unfamiliar and imposing. His dark hair and strong features made her heart race with fear. Every instinct told her to be cautious. "Please, don't be afraid," Chayton said gently, his voice smooth like a soft breeze rustling the leaves. He held his hands up, palms open, to show he meant no harm. "I'm here to help you." Clara swallowed hard, unsure whether to trust him. Memories of her uncle's rage loomed large in her mind. Would this stranger offer kindness or danger? Seeing her trepidation, Chayton lowered himself onto his knees, bringing himself closer to her level. He spoke softly about the forest's wonders and the stories it held, hoping to ease her fears. "You're safe now. I won't let anything happen to you." Slowly, Clara felt a flicker of warmth in his voice, but uncertainty still clung to her heart. It was difficult to replace years of hurt with trust in one moment, yet something about Chayton's gaze made her want to believe in his promise of safety as he carefully helped her sit up. Over the coming days, Clara began to trust Chayton more as he helped her regain her strength. He introduced her to the wonders of the forest, teaching her how to find food and identify edible plants. She watched in awe as he expertly demonstrated how to set traps for small game and gather wild herbs that could heal wounds. "Every part of nature has a purpose," Chayton explained one afternoon as they sat near a bubbling stream. Clara listened intently, captivated by his stories and the wisdom woven into them. He shared tales of his ancestors and their deep connection to the land, imbuing her with respect for the world around them. Initially hesitant, Clara found herself trying out the skills he taught her. She learned to listen to the sounds of the forest and understand its rhythms. Each small success filled her with pride and confidence, slowly replacing her earlier fears. As they worked together, she felt a sense of belonging forming between them, bond, strengthened by shared experiences. Chayton's gentle guidance offered Clara not just survival skills, but also a glimpse into a world filled with hope and possibility, igniting a spark of courage within her heart that she thought had long been extinguished. As the days turned into weeks, Clara and Chayton's bond deepened, blossoming into a friendship that transcended their cultural differences. They shared laughter as they explored the forest together, Clara's initial fears slowly transforming into camaraderie. Clara began to appreciate not only Chayton's survival skills, but also the rich history he carried with him. One day, while sitting by the fire, Chayton began to tell Clara stories of his people, the Cherokee traditions, the significance of each season, and the lessons taught by nature. Clara listened intently, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. In return, she shared stories from her own life, moments of joy and sorrow that shaped her journey. Through these exchanges, they found common ground in their experiences of loss and resilience. Chayton encouraged Clara to be brave and embrace her new life in the wild, while she inspired him to reignite his spirit after his family's tragic fate. Together, they learned valuable lessons about trust, friendship, and understanding. Their unique connection began to weave the threads of two different cultures into a tapestry of support and hope. Each day spent together brought them closer, proving that compassion knows no boundaries and that healing can happen across any divide. While Clara and Chayton formed a deepening friendship, an invisible shadow loomed over their journey. Clara's heart would race at every rustle of the leaves or crunch of twigs underfoot, reminding her that she was still being hunted. The men who sought her were relentless, driven by a desire to reclaim what they believed belonged to them. One evening, while they sat by the fire, Chayton noticed Clara's gaze drifting into the darkness. "What troubles you?" he asked softly. Clara hesitated before revealing her fears about the men searching for her. She described how their faces haunted her dreams and how she felt like prey in a world that had turned against her. Chayton listened intently, his expression serious. "You are not alone anymore," he assured her, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "I will protect you." Despite his words, Clara couldn't shake the anxiety that clung to her like mist. As night fell, the distant sound of voices echoed through the woods, sending chills down Clara's spine. She gripped Chayton's arm tightly, realizing that their bond would be tested in ways she never imagined as they faced the dangers lurking just beyond the tree line. Determined to protect Clara from the threat of the men hunting her, Chayton devised a plan. He knew the forest well and understood the importance of staying one step ahead of their pursuers. Together, they moved deeper into the mountains, seeking refuge in hidden caves and dense thickets where they could go unnoticed. One morning, as dawn broke over the horizon, Chayton gathered Clara near a small stream. "We need to be smarter than those who seek you," he said, his voice steady and reassuring. He taught her how to make natural camouflage from leaves and branches, allowing them to blend into their surroundings. Clara watched intently as he demonstrated how to create traps for food and set up signals to alert them of any approaching danger. Chayton also emphasized the importance of listening to the sounds of the forest, sharing stories of how his ancestors used nature to guide them. With each lesson, Clara felt more empowered and less like a hunted animal. As days passed and tensions rose, Chayton remained vigilant. His bravery shone through as he kept watch at night, ensuring Clara's safety while she slept. This commitment deepened her trust in him, solidifying the bond between them even further as they faced the growing peril together. One evening, after a long day of training and foraging, Clara and Chayton sat by the fire, the flames casting flickering shadows around them. As they stared into the embers, Clara felt her heart heavy with memories of her past. "I miss my home," she admitted quietly, her voice trembling. "Even though it was hard, I sometimes wish I could go back." Chayton nodded, understanding all too well the pain of loss. "I lost my family too," he shared softly, his gaze fixed on the fire. "It's a wound that never really heals." He paused, collecting his thoughts. "But we can still carry their memories with us. We honor them by living fully in the present." Clara looked into his eyes, seeing the depth of his grief and strength. They spoke late into the night, sharing stories of their lost loved ones and dreams for what might come next. With each word, Clara felt a weight lift from her heart, knowing she was not alone in her suffering. In that moment of reflection, they began to heal together, realizing that their shared experiences made their bond stronger and filled with hope. They could help each other navigate the darkness of their pasts while looking forward to brighter days ahead. The moment Clara had feared finally arrived. One crisp morning, as the sun rose and a soft mist hung over the trees, Chayton caught wind of movement in the distance men searching for Clara, their voices cutting through the tranquility of the forest. A sense of dread filled the air, but Chayton's resolve hardened. He could not let them take her back. "Stay close to me," he whispered urgently, positioning Clara behind a thick grove of bushes. With a steady heart, he formulated a plan. Using his knowledge of the terrain, he decided to draw the hunters away from her hiding place. As they approached, Chayton stepped into view, his stance firm and defiant. "Turn back!" he called out with authority, his voice echoing amidst the trees. The men paused, surprised by his presence. They exchanged glances before drawing closer, intending to confront him. Chayton stood tall against the threat, ready to protect Clara at all costs. With each step they took toward him, he felt the weight of justice upon his shoulders, not just for Clara's safety, but for his own healing as well. This was a moment where courage would be tested, and Chayton was determined to face it head-on. The confrontation had been intense, but in the aftermath, Clara felt a sense of liberation. Chayton's bravery and unwavering determination had not only protected her, but had also inspired a newfound strength within her. As they made their way back through the forest, Clara could see the world around her with fresh eyes. The trees no longer felt like obstacles to hide behind. They were symbols of resilience and life. With every step, she began to shed the fear that had clung to her for so long. Chayton walked beside her, a reassuring presence who had taught her how to navigate not just the wilds but her own heart. The bond they shared was now unbreakable, forged in trials and laughter alike. "Thank you for standing up for me," Clara said as they paused by a stream, staring at their reflections in the water. Chayton smiled softly, his eyes shining with pride. Clara took a deep breath, feeling hope swell within her. She realized that her past, while painful, didn't have to define her future. Together with Chayton, she was ready to embrace whatever lay ahead, determined to carve out a new life filled with possibility and light. As Clara and Chayton continued their journey through the mountains, the lessons they had learned together began to take root in Clara's heart. The bond forged through shared hardships and mutual respect proved to be a powerful force, transcending cultural boundaries. No longer just a girl fleeing her past, Clara emerged as a resilient young woman, embracing her unique identity intertwined with Chayton's teachings. In the following weeks, they encountered other travelers in the woods, and each interaction became an opportunity for Clara to apply what she had learned about compassion and understanding. She found joy in sharing stories of her adventures alongside Chayton, revealing the depths of their friendship to those they met. Their experiences highlighted how different backgrounds could unite individuals in unexpected ways, creating a tapestry of shared humanity. As they reached a high ridge overlooking a beautiful valley, both Clara and Chayton paused to take in the view. It symbolized new beginnings and endless possibilities. In that moment, they understood that overcoming adversity was not just about surviving, it was about growing together. With hope blossoming in their hearts, they looked toward a future filled with resilience and connection, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead side by side.